For me, I own business. I asked this question the other day. I'm so curious to get your thoughts on this. For the longest time, when I got into business, I was, a younger guy, 21. I'm like, okay, very coachable. Tell me, what do I got to do? I'm a coachable guy. What do I got to do? I'm a coachable guy. Super coachable. I want to make money. I'm sick and tired of being broke. My dad's at the 99 cents store. Too many heart attacks. I want to get out of this. Yep. So I'm like, hey, Patrick, basic stuff. When you're doing business and you're talking to rich people, I'm Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. Never talk religion. Never talk politics. Never talk sex. Just don't talk about those three things. I said, okay, guess what? Never talk politics. Never talk religion, never talk sex. No problem. We're going to business. So what do you think about the political climate today, Patrick, David? Oh, what do you think? Well, I think this is, but what do you think, Patrick? I don't know, quite frankly, I think I'm trying to figure it out for myself right now, but we'll see what's going to happen. Like, whatever way you're deflecting and you kind of go on your phone. Hey, what do you think about God? What is your opinion on Islam or Muslim? Well, for me, you deflect that. Eventually you're sitting there, you're like, the people that I know at that level want to talk about those three topics. Yep. Now, sex is maybe off camera and they're kind of having fun with it, but they want to talk about politics and religion. So we, for the longest time, have been silenced, and now the ESG community, all this time they've told us to stay quiet, and they're saying what? They're talking politics, they're talking religion, and they're talking sex. Sex the way through LGBTQ. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with it? It's normal. It's normal. It's normal. No, it's not normal. Well, listen, you guys shouldn't talk about politics and sex and religion. Shouldn't be doing that. And then you see this one, during COVID, one pastor, Australia, Syrian man. I don't know what his name is, Vinny. What's his name? The Syrian pastor, priest from Australia. And he was fighting all the anti-COVID guidelines, and his stuff is going viral. He's doing this. And you've seen these messages. Some of the people that stood up, they stood up because they feared God. Okay. And for you, with your life, it's been interesting watching you go through your evolution of your faith. Pre-2022, former atheist, couple of the things you've said in the past, God isn't real because you can't prove it. Okay, kind of like that was more the Malcolm X argument, right? Bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people far too often for God to exist. I'm the center of my universe. That's pre-2020. Then gradually you start talking about Christianity and, in 2020 you made a video announcing that you were wrong about what you had said previously about God, right? Now you start saying people who are atheists are angry, bad energy people, and I don't want to be on that team anymore. And even if God is not real, the world is a better place if people do believe in God. I know God is real because there's so much evil in the world that there has to be an equal and opposite force. The devil can't exist if God does not. And if you look at the world today, it is very obvious that the devil does not exist. And I'll go to the last one here with Muslim. Quotes from you. Christians don't have a religion anymore because they tolerate everything and stand for nothing. And by the way, I actually agree with you, the fact that they're tolerating way too much. Islam is the last religion on the planet. God is something to be feared, respected, and to prove yourself to, which means you got to earn his right. It's hey, I want to earn your right and your respect, right? How did you go, if you don't mind talking about your own evolution? Because us as men, if you knew me at 25 years old, you probably would have liked to party with me. I was a selfish guy. I was a guy you would have thought I was, right? And we go through this phase of where the selfishness kind of comes down a little bit. You still need to be selfish because you need to be driven, but to the point where you're like, listen, man, I got to really do something. And then somehow, some way God enters. What's been your evolution of your faith, and where are you at today?
I think Newton's, his third law, equal and opposite force, what you just said there is absolutely true. There has to be an equal and opposite force to all the evil in the world. And that the equal and opposite force to all that evil has to be God. And I've talked about this at length, even with atheists. And I try and say that regardless of whether you're an atheist or not, you're thinking of God as a man in the sky, but you need to think of God as a concept as a whole. And once you do that, it's impossible to accept that he doesn't exist, right? I said to the atheist, I said, let's say there was two islands. You're shipwrecked, right? And there's two islands. Both of them are full of savages. On one island, you and your friend are shipwrecked. On one island, your friend goes and he crashes and they kill him and they eat him. And you go to another island and they want to kill you and eat you, but they don't because it's against their religion. Did God save your life? Who cares? Who doesn't even know the name of their God? But their God said, don't kill shipwrecked survivors. And now you're alive. So their God saved your life. The concept of God in and of itself saved your life. You owe God just for the concept of it, the idea of it. So even the idea of opposing evil as a whole is a belief in God. So you're either an evil person or you believe in God in some regard. And then once I understood that there had to be an equal and opposite force, I was raised Christian. I live in a Christian nation. Romania is actually, I think, the second or third most Christian country on earth. It's a very Christian country here. It's churches everywhere. They strongly believe. And that's where I began my journey. But I always had a very healthy respect for Islam because I understand that to a degree, to have a religion at all, you have to have an intolerance to a degree. Because without an intolerance, you don't have rules. You don't have laws. You don't have any, like you said, you have to earn God's respect. If you're a religion which is tolerant of everything, then you don't have to earn God's respect. You can be a bad person and do bad things. God loves me, so it's fine. Well, no, it's not, because that's not the point of the religion. So then you extrapolate that out, and I was sitting and thinking, well, what's the primary function of a religion? And the primary function of a religion, I don't believe it's the religion exists so I can live forever. I mean, that's a nice thought. But I think on a macro level, the primary objective of a religion is to restore and contain some degree of traditional value within the society. How do you judge? Let me change the way I worded that. How do you judge the success of a religion? I don't think you can judge it by the number of people who join it, because there's lots of people who are Catholic who don't act Catholic. They don't act in any way particularly Christian. Anyone can say they're something. You can walk into a strip club and everyone says they're Christian. It doesn't mean anything, right? So how do you judge the success of a religion? Well, I like to think the best way to judge the success of a religion is how successful is it at fighting evil? How successful is it at preserving the morality of a population in X parameter, in X geographical area? So when you look at it from that way, you can't say that Islam isn't the most successful religion on earth. It's the most successful in regards to opposing evil. It's the most successful in regards to opposing its differing viewpoints. It's the most successful in regards to having people act within the limits and the confines of what it finds to be moral and good to God. It's the most adhered to. It's the most feared. It's the most respected in most forms. And then also I'd like to think...
I would say it's the most feared.
Yeah, it's the most feared. But what is respect without fear? Do we respect men we don't fear? If there's a man who could do absolutely nothing to you on any level at all, you might be nice to him, sure, because we're not bad people. But would you really respect him? If you could take his chick in front of his face, set his car on fire, and he wouldn't do a thing, you wouldn't respect him. You might be nice to him because we're not bullies, but you wouldn't respect him. Respect and fear are linked. They're not always the same thing, and you can maybe have fear without respect, but it's very hard to have respect without fear. And also, I heard someone say once that we see the world as we see ourselves. If you're a thief, you think everyone's a thief. If you're a liar, you think everyone's a liar. And I kind of agree with that. I understood that. I also like to think we see religion as we see ourselves. I like to see myself as a person whose respect you have to earn. I like to see myself as a person who has strong, rigid boundaries. I like to see myself as a person who will stand up and say, no, that's wrong. I like to see myself as a person who's not afraid of being shamed by whatever community for saying, I don't agree with that particular ideal. I like seeing myself that way. So if I'm going to see myself that way, then I'm going to naturally align with a religion that operates within that form. So when I say Islam is the last religion on earth, I say it because it seems to be the only one who will stand up and say, no, we don't care. No, that's not what the book says. No. I was raised Christian, and Muslims as a whole, we have no problems with Christians. None at all. I don't want anyone to think I'm anti-Christian, like I dislike Christians. We don't have a problem with Christians. We believe in a lot of the same things. We believe in Jesus. We put more respect on the name of Jesus than most Christians do. I just don't like the idea of people saying they're a Christian and saying, but because I'm a Christian, I can do whatever I want and throw all the rules away and none of it matters. Because once you have that level of tolerance, you no longer have a religion. Islam seems to be the last religion left with parameters. If you don't have parameters, you don't have a religion at all. So the closer I found myself to God, the closer I found myself to Islam. That's just how it ended.
And Andrew, speaking of fear, one could argue that Islam these days, certainly in the last 20 years with the war on terror, they've also been the most vilified.
Absolutely.
Right? So, you know, everything that we've seen happen with extremism and everything that's going on all over the world, how are you grappling with that? You've been a Christian for years now. Islam, everything.
And you know what? That's such an interesting question, because when I was younger, especially when I was an atheist, I would sit and think, people are really doing terror attacks and doing all this crazy stuff because, you know, they're upset over a cartoon. That's so stupid. And nobody should kill anybody. Nobody should kill anybody.
Charlie Hebdo, everything.
Yeah, nobody should kill anybody. Nobody should kill anybody. I'll make that very clear. But also part of me is now saying, why would you want to insult the prophet for billions of people? Why would you want to do that? I don't even want to make the argument against free speech. I'm not even saying you couldn't be allowed to. This is a sensitive subject. I'm just saying, what kind of person wakes up and thinks, I want to do that? I don't know. I just don't think that's a healthy mindset. Like when I see these Satanists, and they're, especially in America, and they're doing, let's keep it on Christianity, these Satanists, and they're dressing up Jesus as gay and all this stuff, like, that's not done in any kind of good faith. There's no good reason to do that. That's done with genuinely malicious intention. And what kind of people want to do that? And then the answer by extension is, I thought America was a Christian country. So how can you have a Christian country where the prophets of the religion are mocked to the highest possible levels within the confines of the country, and it's promoted? Is that a Christian country? Doesn't seem like a Christian country to me. I don't think the same thing would happen with Islam in Saudi Arabia. I can't imagine that happening. So how can you say we're a Christian country, but everyone's mocking our God on the streets? Ha, ha, ha. It's on Netflix. Ha, ha, ha. That's not a Christian country to me. So if you're not a Christian country, then where's the religion? The religion's supposed to enforce certain boundaries. You're supposed to at least show it respect, you know? And it's also kind of interesting because in Christian countries, there's more respect for Islam than there is for Christianity. In a Christian country, name one. They still don't do it with the Islamic Prophet.
Why do you think that is?
It's too much smoke. It's just not worth the heat. Because people believe. And I'm not advocating for violence on any level. I'm saying that even these degenerates who are trying to destroy people's belief in God, like we've discussed earlier, because they don't want you to have any baseline morality. If you believe in God, there are commandments, yes and no. That baseline morality prevents you being an absolute slave. So they're trying to destroy it. But even those degenerates who are trying to mock and disgrace God, understand there's a point where it just backfires and, ooh, this is smoke. And they don't want the smoke. And shouldn't God be feared? I'm scared of God. It's the only thing I fear. I fear God. They can put me in jail. I know I'm telling the truth. God's on my side. I fear God. So God should be feared. So once again, does anybody fear the Christian God? I haven't seen anybody scared of him in a long time. And it's kind of crazy because it's very interesting. The mass migration and all these things are leftist policies, but then also Islam is the most right-wing religion on earth. It's kind of very interesting. I grew up in England, and I grew up in Luton, which is a town which is mainly Muslim. It's a huge Islamic community. And there was a bunch of English people who were complaining about there's too much immigration, we're losing our culture. And I understood their point absolutely. But these are the same people complaining about all the left-wing LGBT in schools and all these issues. And I was like, the only allies you have against this are the Muslims. They're the only allies you have in any of this. The Christians don't protest against any of this stuff. The Christians don't. There's very few Christians who will get up off their ass and complain. In fact, I saw on Twitter yesterday, one of the churches was lit up in rainbow. I have nothing against gay people. I don't care. And that's actually another point I want to make into about this thing. I think most people don't care, and I think that bothers them. Have you ever had an argument with a girl, and she's like stropping around the house, she's huffing and puffing, and you just don't give a shit? So she has to keep upping the ante till you eventually go, what's the problem? Because she tried the low-level stuff, and you didn't care. I kind of feel like this has a remnants of that. I'm gay. Cool. I want to get married. Fine. I want to wave my dick in your kid's face. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I feel like they tried to annoy us, and we're like, we don't give a shit. Do whatever you want. Be a person. We don't care. Point. And now they're like, okay, well, we have to get to a limit where they have to react. Yeah. We want attention now. We want them to care about
What's the right move on that?
Well, that's the point. You know, it's difficult because there comes a point where you simply have to address it, and now you have to oppose it. And this is sorry to interrupt you, but this is why they're so careful and so clever with what they do. They package it all together. LGBTQ. I would argue. I don't know what Q is. Firstly, sorry, I don't know what Q is.
Questioning.
Q. All right. I would argue that G and T are very different things.
Beyond.
A gay man and someone who's chopped the dick off are very different things. Completely. So they package it all together. So now, because the spectrum of your enemy is so large, you have people who are fully this way. Mm-hmm. You have people who we accept and are normal in society. We have no problem with gay people. And they put it all together. You're an enemy of all these people. And they complicate the argument and they mix it all together. And now you're a bigot. And really, you just want your kids to be left alone. Really, you just want to leave the children alone. Of course. All you want to do is leave your kids alone. And then it's like, okay, I'm now raising children. I have more children than most people would believe. How do I protect my children from this insanity? God. Which God can protect my children? Allah, Islam. I'll move them to Dubai or Saudi Arabia, and none of this will happen. Can I trust a Christian nation? Some of them. Romania is a Christian nation, and to a large degree, they oppose quite a lot of this stuff. But they're also NATO, and they're also EU, and they also rely on bailouts and grants and money. And on a long enough time frame, even in the 7 years I've lived here, I have watched certain attitudes change because money buys influence and power.
So Andrew, not to cut you off, how much of you converting from Christianity to Islam is actually the belief in God versus the societal pressures that are facing children? Because it seems like it's a little bit of both.
For you to believe in God, you have to respect him. How can I believe and put my life in the hands of someone I don't respect? And I'm going to respect a God which is feared.
Yeah, but it's a vertical relationship, right? It's not a horizontal. If you base it horizontally, they're going to disappoint you. If you think about, if you're going to believe, let's go believe Prophet Muhammad, his teaching, and let's go believe the Bible, NIV, and Jesus, Father, for God so loved the world that he gave his, you gave your son for me. Let's say that's true. And you're doing it based on faith. Who would do such a thing for me? What a level of sacrifice for you to do that. Who am I for you to be so worried about me? If you look at it from that angle, it's not necessarily coming from a place of fear. It's coming from a place of grace. It's coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of,
absolutely,
a different feel. Because I do believe the part that upsets me is the fear aspect, that they're allowing others to mock your God, to mock Jesus, to mock whatever religion it is you're a part of, and you're kind of like, oh, they're just funny, man. No, it's not funny. You just crossed the line. Like JC has that one line where he says, don't tell me why what the guy said about me. Tell me why he was so comfortable saying it to you.
100%.
Tell me why he said comfortable to you. So I think that's the part about faith. I understand when you're saying the fear and the respect side. So that's the part where fear is needed. I totally agree. But the part where you were making a point about LGBTQ, you're like, I don't even know what Q stands for, is questioning. And then you're like, well, gay, okay, cool. Trans, listen, man, spectrum. And he said if we were to say which religion's the far right, it's going to be Muslim. Totally get it. They're on the far right. Christian today is kind of going center left today. Like they're kind of being soft right now. Okay. So if I want to raise my kids, I'm going to take my kids to Dubai, and I'm going to take my kids to Saudi Arabia. Why? Because I'm defending against some of these immoral philosophies that they have. I don't want to go there. I actually understand that argument.
Yeah, and I want to make one more point. I do believe there is one God, and I believe there's many different paths to God. And I'm not a religious scholar, and I'm not an expert on Islam. I'm doing my best, and I'm reading the Quran as often as I can. And it does say that Christians on the day of reckoning will see how close they were to the truth. And we are allies. We are not enemies in any regard, Christians and Muslims. And I do believe that the idea of Christians and Muslims shaking hands and saying, let's put an end to a lot of this garbage would be fantastic. I'm not anti-Christian in any regard. I just found myself, as I became more and more religious, seeking and looking for a faith which not only I could be proud of, but a faith which was guiding in regards to, I don't know what a Christian would answer to certain questions nowadays. What does a Christian answer to? I'm a transsexual and I want to show your kids my genitals. What's a Christian? Well, a Christian's supposed to say no, do they? I know what my Muslim friends would say. I don't know. If you're a Christian, I don't know how you're supposed to act. I don't know what you're supposed to adopt. I don't get it anymore.
The true believer says
the true believer. The true believer. Yeah. But how many are true believers? I don't know. I see all over Twitter, all these churches are losing their minds. It seems very complicated. Islam seems very, very simple. You know what's right, you know what's wrong.
Connect is an application which allows you to take a minute to connect with influencers from all around the world. My name is Andrew Tate, and I'm available to speak directly to you on Connect.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.
What would you say are the top 5 things which a man could do to make himself more attractive to women?
I think number one has to be get in shape. Mm-hmm. It has to be get in shape. I mean, obviously you take getting in shape more seriously than almost anyone I know, but even myself, I was out of shape at the beginning of this year because I had some problems with my arm that I was fixing and I couldn't train. I just looked at myself in the mirror, even though I wasn't in horrible shape, just thinking, Jesus Christ, this is abysmal. So and I think that the standard the standard you set on yourself is what's attractive. Yes, the great body and the physical shape comes with it, but I feel like women are attracted to that in general. I mean, there are athletes, there are boxers who, they're a bit fat, MMA fighters, a lot of them, look at some of the heavyweights, are not in the best shape in terms of bodybuilding aesthetically, but the fact that they're up every day learning how to fight, working, training in the gym, it does something to your mind as well as your body that women find attractive. So that has to be number one. More attractive to women, learn how to talk, learn how to be funny, learn how to deal with women. Some people just have no idea how to speak to women and how to be around women. Understand that, I don't know how many this is, understand that male psychology and female psychology are very, very different. Some people with no experience with women, they will think that women think like men, which is one of the biggest mistakes that I think people make in general. Young guys are literally, they'll send pictures of their dicks or naked pictures to girls they like. No. Mm-hmm. You'd like it if she sent you a naked picture. And even if you're flirting and she seems interested in you, maybe she's interested in you, don't send her a picture of your dick. Like that's correlating male and female psychology in a bad way. That's just an example. I don't know.
I think for me, what I've experienced is obviously being in shape can help.
That's super.
But that's not gonna get you.
It's
all
not,
the
because
way.
I know guys who are out of shape who get loads of beautiful women.
Yeah, I think what's helped for me is, like you said before, just being able to have a conversation, be interesting, share stories, ask them questions, be funny.
Yeah, women love to talk about themselves.
Being funny is underrated as well. You don't have to try too hard, but have a little bit of a sense of humor, make them laugh. If you can make them laugh, then
you can make them do anything.
Yeah, they're yours.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know. We've both learned a lot for sure from our experiences.
And if you're bad with women, date more women.
Mm-hmm.
Find women who will date you and date them. Like with anything, kickboxing, martial arts, business, physical training, you will get better the more you do it. So if you're 18, 19 and you're shit with women, ask an ugly woman out. Mm-hmm. Cool. Stop trying to aim for the hot ones, because the hot 18-year-old girls will date people like me. They're not interested in you. Find an ugly chick, date her, and maybe you'll fall in love, maybe you won't, but it doesn't matter. As you go through relationships and experiences with women, you'll learn more about women. So, yeah, don't just and what was I going to say? No, that's it. That's it. I was gonna go down a whole other rant, but I won't.
I was going to ask as well. So for people who are quite shy, are more introverted, do you have any advice for them when it comes to networking and getting themselves out there?
The same advice I have for procrastinators, because I was shy once. When I was 17, 18, I was shy. It wasn't so much with business networking because I didn't know anybody important, but I was shy to go up and talk to girls and stuff. And without the internet and without dating apps and all the little cheat codes that shy people use and men use now, they're crutches that people lean on, I just understood I'm not going to ever get laid if I don't go up and talk to that girl. So the advice I have for people who are too shy to put yourselves out there, too shy to approach women, too shy to, try to, pitch a business deal to somebody important, then good. Have fun staying poor and lonely, because it's especially when you're young, it's not easy. And it does take some balls, but just go and do it anyway. The worst that people can do is say no. That was something in my mind, actually. People used to tell me that. Go talk to the girl. The worst you could do is say no. And that was it. Sometimes they'd say no. And that's the way it is.
And the what if will kill you afterwards.
The what if
you'll be thinking,
the what if will absolutely
pussied out.
So yeah, and if you never are going to learn those skills and you're never going to take a shot in the dark, then good. Have fun staying poor and have fun staying lonely and have fun with your Pornhub subscription. And also don't be retarded. Like, some people think I'll say this, and some people are so retarded they'll come up to me with papers and be like, yeah, you said people didn't take the initiative. Here's my business proposal. But I'm like, just leave me alone. That's not what I mean. I mean, just if you don't have confidence, fake confidence. Confidence is the one thing you can fake, and people believe you have it. If you, I'm shy, go talk to the girl. Okay. If you actually walk up and talk to her, then you're not shy. You've spoken your confidence into existence. So yeah, and a lot of people won't ever do that. And I have no no help for them. What could I possibly tell them that's going to fix them? Nothing. But you're going to be lonely and you're going to be broke if you stay that way.
You have to almost look in the mirror and just tell yourself that you are the man.
Yeah.
You have to believe you are the person that you want to be.
Absolutely.
And just by thinking that, then you feel as though whatever situation you're in, that you're supposed to be in the situation.
The person I want to be wakes up at 7 and he trains for 2 hours. The person I want to be wouldn't let that pretty girl walk past him without introducing himself and saying hello. The person I want, okay, good. So you're going to wake up and lay in bed and then not talk to the pretty girl. Then you'll never be the person you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
Awesome.
What are 3 things you believe that you need to be happy in this world today?
I don't think that men should ever consider how happy they are. I think that for a man, the paradigm of analyzing yourself based on your mood is an incorrect way to approach life. I don't think it makes you competitive. I just don't think it makes you competitive. I feel like as a man, life is ultra competitive and you're constantly competing against other men, whether you realize it or not. The girl you want, other men want. If you get her, it's a competition. The dollar you want, other men want. If you get it, it's a competition. The status you want, other men want. If you get it, you won the competition. Man, life as a man is hyper competitive, and you need to build a mindset that allows you to compete at the highest echelons and the highest levels. And in my experience, the people who compete at the highest levels are not people who have any concern or care for how they feel on the day. You are a man with duties. You're a man with responsibilities. You must perform. You have things you must do, and you must do them regardless of how you feel.
When things go wrong, or I'm feeling things I don't want to feel, or bad things are happening, that's when I'm like, okay, I currently cannot sleep. I've completed the day's tasks. I've tried to go to bed. I can't sleep. More shit has to be done. That's when the amazing things happen in my life. When I was heartbroken, when I was whatever, everyone's been heartbroken. I can't remember a specific example. I hit the gym harder, right? If something goes wrong with your payment processor, that's when you get fucking inventive. That's business, right? That's when you get inventive. So all the bad things that happen to you as a man, if you're stoic, you get to take unlimited energy. Heartbreak is unlimited energy. So is depression. So is rage. So is sadness. All these negative emotions they tell you to collapse behind. You know you're supposed to go to the gym. You know you're supposed to train, learn how to fight. You know all these things. You don't do them. That's your decision. It's your prerogative. I didn't make that choice. I made the choice to do it all. I decided all of that. And every single man watching this can do the exact same thing, which is why I have very little pity when I do these streams and people think I'm arrogant or I'm rude to people, or even to you earlier when I was making jokes and I've been joking with the girls, saying drink the soy latte.
I'm not, yeah.
Of course, and I know we're only joking, right? But the point is that's a conscious decision you made. I would never make fun of someone who hasn't got a choice. I wouldn't make fun of someone born with one arm.
I have a choice though.
But if you've made a fucking decision to be less than you should be, then I believe you should be mocked for that decision.
I agree. I feel like, yeah, because like you're not living up to your full potential. Like it's your choice to basically not live up to your full potential.
If you want motivation to push hard in your business, if you were happy and excited every day, you'd work harder. So how do you become happy and excited? Well, you have to be the man. How do you be the man? We've got to be strong. Ta-da. It's all linked.
Comes down to you. Yeah,
it comes down to you. Yeah, it's all linked. So if you wake up every day and look in the mirror and go, I'm strong as an ox. Look at this. I'm built like Hercules. I'm about to go make some fucking money. Yeah. That's different than waking up and going, out of breath out the shower and shit. You know what I'm saying? So there is definitely a link. I think physicality is linked to everything. I don't think you can deny that. Physicality is linked to everything in your mind. I couldn't be me if I wasn't so fucking strong. I couldn't be me. I know I'm an objectively strong man, and it makes me happy. I say this all the time. Every single mental health month. Depression's the worst thing in the world. It's disease. You think you're helping. You're doing the opposite. Stop telling people that they can't fix it. Stop telling them it's a disease that's not their fault. And start telling people, look, if you work hard, you can feel better. You're depressed now, but if you go to the gym and you work out and you train, you get a good body, you start getting social, you get some friends, go to some social clubs, start to meet people, start to do things, you will feel better. That is far more healthy than talking about it's a disease we can't fix, take these pills. The gym has been proven to fix more depression than antidepressants. It's been proven. This is statistical. So when I say depression isn't real, people say, what you're saying is dangerous and you're going to hurt people. I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to wake people the fuck up. If you're watching this and you're depressed, go to the gym tomorrow morning. And I guarantee you, if you're, no matter how depressed you are, if you're considering suicide, promise me this, get a 6-pack first. And by the time you got the 6-pack, you won't want to do it anymore.
That's how it works. This is why not enough men are motivated enough.
As soon as a woman she finds a man she can look up to and go, okay, you know what? This motherfucker's taught, he's smart, he's strong, his life's in order, he's never fucking up, everything's on track, he's never messed up, he's never had that big rehab moment, he's not an alcoholic, he's never done drugs, his life is completely in order, he's a multimillionaire and everything's on track for him. And he knows more than me about everything. I'm just gonna shut up. They like that. They like saying, okay, he's the man. So it's not even a problem for me in that respect. And it's not an act I put on. A lot of these guys in the, I don't know, male space are pretenders. So they pretend to be something. I am the man and she is the girl, but they're all full of shit. I proved my point a million times over. You can YouTube me and you see me whoop ass. I proved it. So my relationship with women is I absolutely adore women, but I do not see them as my equal because I don't think they're capable like a man is.
Bruce Lee says, be like water. And people see that as be fluid and just go with the flow. I disagree. If you're like water, you're necessary for life. You are scary when you're enraged. You're powerful. You're beautiful when you're calm. You're so many things when you're like water, right? So if I'm enraged, it's like water behind a dam. You just got to put the dam in place. And you got to get the turbo, the hydroelectrics put in. Don't tsunami your life. Put the energy somewhere.
I find it amazing that people will sit there and spend all their time upgrading that character, making as much money as they can, getting the best guns, getting strong, getting some hoes, meeting important people, getting the best car. They'll do all that in a game, but they won't do it in real life. I find that incredible. Like, my life is GTA. I don't need to play a game for GTA. If I want a gun, I'll fucking buy it. If I want a car, I'll fucking buy it. I want a bitch, I'll get her. It's me. I am GTA. I don't see why people play the games. They play the games because they're scared of loss. Because if you die in the game, you get another chance. If you lose in the game, you get another chance. In life, you get one shot.
Damn, that's...
But if you get some balls, that's what life is as a game. That's what life is as a man. This is one big video game. You get to upgrade your character. You're not born with any value. All these women that you just put me on with are born with value. They're pretty already. They're gorgeous already. They're good looking enough. Even if they're a 5, someone's going to give a shit they exist because someone wants to fuck them. As a man, if you don't make yourself valuable, you have no value. You have to get up and do it. Just like a video game, you start with fucking 0. You have to decide if you want to complete it. You have to upgrade your character. There's only one thing on the planet you actually have control over. You can't control the weather. You can't control your health. You can get a brain aneurysm or a heart attack. You can't control other people. The only thing you can actually really truly control is what you think. That's the only thing you can change in real time. You can be thinking of red and change it to blue. So why are you not controlling your own mind? It's your asset. It's your ally. It's your friend. Why would you make an enemy out of the only thing you have control over? I refuse to do that. It doesn't make sense to me. The worst thing on earth that could happen to a man could happen to me. And I guarantee you, I would still label myself happy. I'm happy because that's who I am. That's how I view myself. That's what I've decided.
You have the will to fight, the will to experiment, the will to succeed, and the will to fail, and then keep going and going and going. That's accurate.
That's absolutely accurate. I think another thing about fighting will teach you is that it's kind of all or nothing. So my view to money always was, I either want to be a multi-millionaire or I don't want to work at all. So my view is very much like, I'd rather have my freedom and train and just bang girls on the beach in Thailand and live off $20 a day so I could afford noodles than work and be some middle income, go to work every day, sit on the motorway. I can pay my bills. I don't have much left. I'd rather, it was all or nothing for me. It's the same with fighting. You either win or you lose. I either wanted to have it all or I didn't want to play the game. I didn't want to play the game I didn't want to be in the middle. So for that, I was always prepared to do sacrificial shit. I was always prepared to go crazy or try a crazy idea because I had to pull something off. I got offered all the time. Hey man, you can come. I got offered in Oslo. You can come and you can train people at our gym and it's $3,000 a month and you get a free apartment. You get to live in Norway and there's hot girls and you get to hold pads and you can still train. And I was still like, no, I don't want to work. I still got a job. No, I don't want to fucking hold pads with some dickhead. No.
Yeah.
I want freedom. And freedom either comes from being completely broke or rich.
One of the best things about money is I've managed to create my reality absolutely. I don't talk to anyone I don't want to talk to. If you come to me and say, we can make $100 million, but I don't like your shirt,
then you can get fucked. That's my life now, because I don't need money and I don't like you. So that's who I am, right? So I've created my reality, absolutely. And the number one thing I will not do is talk to negative people. I don't want to hear, I don't care what your story is. I don't care what happened. If all you do is complain, you are not around me, because it is sticky. It's sticky to you. It's sticky to the universe. It leaves a residue. I don't want to hear it. Everyone around me is happy. And not only happy, we're the kind of people, if we're in a trench and we're getting shelled, we're laughing.
Yep.
We're like, missed! Woohoo! That's who we are. There's no such thing as too much masculinity if it's genuinely masculine. Genuine masculinity is not out here to hurt people. It's absolutely the opposite. It's out here to protect. And when bad things happen, they call traditionally masculine men. If you need a firefighter, you need a masculine man. When you call the police because of the problem you had, you want masculine men. And as soon as a woman or a man is in trouble, when you look for backup, you look for masculine men. And masculine men have a duty to provide and protect those they care about. We have a duty to do things we don't feel like doing because we know we're supposed to do them. And that's why we stayed in the Titanic and died. Those were masculine men.
Where did you get your views about this from?
This is what I grew up with. This is the family I grew up around. And
your father, your mother?
Yeah, and the world I lived in. And I think a lot of the things I'm saying now about masculinity and how people should act in the world, how the world should function, were considered completely normal and accepted by everybody only 20 years ago. I think the world's just lost its mind.
So if Mike Tyson walks in here and tells you he's going to teach you how to box and says you can't fight, you're a pussy, if that upsets you, then you can't learn, right? It's Mike Tyson. Just shut up and listen. Yeah. If someone, Richard Me, comes along and says, Andrew, you don't know shit, you're a dumbass and you're a brokey, I'm going to sit there and go, okay, maybe I'm a brokey. Elon, tell me something, right? I'll listen. But if you're going to sit there and go, don't call me names and not listen, you're never going to get anywhere, right? You don't become the master unless you're very, very good at being a student. And I've always been very, very good at knowing when to shut up. But I've got to a point in my life now where I don't have to shut up ever. So I don't.
I don't know how a man is waking up and he's happy without money.
Well, I think I've written books on money, done a lot of exploration. I actually think the rhetoric that money doesn't make you happy and life isn't all about money is part of the propaganda of what you call the matrix in indoctrinating us to concede and earn just enough so that we can pay our 50% taxes and pay our interest on all of our loans. And then when we die, pay 40% of everything that we own. Because if we know that money makes us really happy, we'll go and find it, which means becoming an entrepreneur and getting out of the system. And then that is freedom.
Oh, absolutely. So I think the smartest thing the rich people ever did was convince the broke people that money was. I think that's nail on the head. All the rich people like, don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Money doesn't make you happy, guys. I'm going to keep mine. But don't worry, it doesn't make you happy. I promise. I'm sad. Promise. You're sad? Yeah, we both are. Good luck. Biggest scam alive. Because money is freedom. It's freedom to drive what you want, eat where you want, go where you want. It's freedom to sleep with who you want. I just described it. If you want a beautiful woman, you need money. Like, money is freedom. If you don't want to be a slave, which is...
It's freedom to say no. Money is freedom to say no.
It's freedom to talk the truth online and be put in jail and come out and still have supercars.
My man has a Ferrari. Okay. I wish I had a Ferrari. Okay. They don't sit there and go for an hour. How did he get a Ferrari? It doesn't cross that part is the part they don't want to do, right? They just go, oh, he has a Ferrari. Wish I had a Ferrari. And they go back to TV.
Yeah.
And that's why they lose.
There's a lot of men who think what I think. They can't say it. They lose their jobs. So you want to say money doesn't buy happiness. Well, then you're saying you're happy to be a slave because only money is going to give you freedom. When they want to try and attack you, like they've attacked me, they take your money away on purpose. So absolutely, money's freedom to have an opinion now. So it's true. So yeah, exactly. So money absolutely is happiness because freedom is a bare minimum requisite to happiness. Unless you're happy being a slave. And you're right about what rich people did. They tried to convince all the people at the bottom that money isn't the answer. You're never going to be more happy poor. You may as well be rich. I can't think of many scenarios where being rich was a detriment over being poor. There's not many. Even if money can't help you, you may as well have it, right? So I completely agree with you. I think money is a bare minimum requirement for happiness, especially if you're a masculine man who wants to outcompete. Then you need money because money is basically everything. I think money is the most important thing in the world is health because you have nothing if you're dying. Second thing is family and friends who you love. And the third is money because it's everything else.
I think everybody knows that the system and the path they lay out for you is not a path that's going to lead to where you want to be. And I didn't know what the other path was, but that intrinsic distrust for the system and that distrust for the things they wanted me to do made me search for other avenues. And then I found them, right? And if you speak to the people who are richest, if you speak to the people you know, this is for everyone at home as well. If you speak to the people you know who have the most money and go up to them and say, hey, what made you rich? None of them say school. Do any of them say school made me rich? I got an A in GCSE. Like, who gives a shit? It's bullshit, right? So it's all indoctrination. So I knew it was indoctrination. And for that reason, I was always searching. If you're searching, you're going to find. When I was 15, my first job was carrying boxes of fish from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. And I would run to work. So I'd leave the house at 6. I'd run an hour. I'd get there at 7. I'd finish work at 5. And then I'd run from there to the fight gym. Get to the fight gym. I'd get there early before training started. I'd eat food next to the gym, and then I'd train, and then I would get a ride home from my girlfriend at the time. So my entire life was 17 hours a day of just running and working and carrying boxes and fighting. And I can't be more thankful. You know, I don't want to be arrogant, but I'm going to. I really do believe I've had the perfect life. Now, I don't know if that's actually because I have the perfect life or if I framed it that way, but I am so thankful for everything. I am so glad I got to grow up poor because I wouldn't appreciate money if I didn't. And I'm so glad I got to spend my 20s, that decade where you're as powerful as possible fighting. And I'm so glad I've had difficult jobs and no money. And I'm so glad I couldn't pay my bills so that I appreciate now all the money I have. And I'm so glad I had the parents I had. And I'm so glad all these bad things happened to me, but enough good things happened. And I just really feel like it's been the perfect path. And I think back on that job. I think back on how my life was back then. And I realized that I wouldn't appreciate any of the things I have now without them. There's absolutely no light without dark. The best thing about being rich is talking about how you used to be poor. Otherwise, it's no point being rich at all. You're not going to enjoy any of it. You're going to end up addicted to drugs and doing crazy stuff, right? Yep. The reason I'm so happy, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I'm happy every day, I'm pretty emotionally balanced, is because I wake up in a big ass house and I realize that I don't have to worry about rent the next day and everything's fine. I see it that there is so much money everywhere. And even I can't get it all. So I want as many people around me as possible to be rich because now I'm at least around more money. If I send a message inside of HU and said, I want to raise $100 million amongst my students themselves, I can do it. I've got my own venture capital firm now. I was like, boom. All right. 100 million. Let's buy a yacht. Here, dish it up. Bang, bang, bang. Done. Yeah. Because all of them are making money. I want to know as many people with money as possible. So if I know a way to teach people how to make money, and I'll also make money for teaching them how to make money, and I now have people who I can talk to so I have access to the money they make, why would I not teach them how to make money? Now, the reason no one else has really done this is because I don't think anyone else knows how to make money as well as I do. And also nobody else can really prepare and build a platform like we have or do the work it takes. HU is extremely difficult to launch. It's not easy to find 18 professors who know what they're talking about, build an online platform. Then you need the payment gateways. And then even when all that's done, then you got to find a way to get people to join. You got to advertise it. I don't have to advertise anything. So I'm top G. Everyone knows, but it's difficult, right? So we don't even have any competition. There's nowhere else on the internet you can go and spend $49 and sit for an entire month learning from 18 millionaires how to make money. There's nowhere else on the planet. No. It's the only place. So we have no competition. So we're about to conquer the world. We're about to conquer the world. And that's a good thing.
But how does one free their mind without getting into Hustlers University?
Well, if they're watching this podcast, it's a good thing. It's a good start, right? Hustlers University is the answer for the people whose minds are already free. Once your mind is free, once you understand that your chance of making money with the traditional route they've laid out for you is zero. Going to school, going to college, going to university, getting in debt, getting a job with school debt, getting a mortgage with mortgage debt, getting a car with car debt, in debt to the banks, working at a job with the pay rise comes very sparsely, inflation's out of control, the property, you're never going to pay it off, you're never going to get rich, you're going to stay broke forever. Once your mind understands that the system and the path they've told you towards riches, which is get a good job, get good grades, get a mortgage, is a lie, then you need an alternative, which is Hustlers University. We'll teach you how to make money for $49. It costs less than lunch. We'll teach you how to make money and you can escape the matrix. But first, your mind needs to be free. You need to understand that the path they're giving you leads nowhere. Some people still believe in it.
Bro, they do because sorry, Mom, I'm going to actually say this. She's going to watch the podcast later. But, I told her not to take the vaccine. I did tell her that. She's saying, no, everybody's taking it. My brother in London, he's saying that, I can't fly out of the country if I don't take it. I said, Mom, you don't need to take it. Yeah. Why? You're absolutely healthy. Yeah. You haven't got the C, man. You haven't. Yeah. I didn't get it. Yeah. Nothing's going to happen to anybody. It's just fucking flu. Yeah. A couple of days later, we see that I think the CDC announced that it treated like a flu. Yeah. I was like, what just happened? And she sent that to me. I said, why are you sending it to me? It was me who actually was telling you not to do it.
And this is the thing. Some people are still stuck inside the matrix, especially the older generation. I feel like the younger generation have woken up to a lot of the lies. But another reason why is because, have this cough bug to answer that. The Matrix didn't betray the older generation as much as it betrayed our generation. So the path to wealth we just laid out worked for them. You could go to school, get good grades, get a good job, get a mortgage, get a house, pay the house off. Inflation has made the house price go up. You've made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
So the Matrix did good by you.
Definitely.
The system wasn't completely corrupted. What did we talk about earlier about the cyclical nature of systems? And when the new king comes in, he has good intentions at the beginning.
Changing world order, right? Ray Dalio explained it.
That's right. The king comes in with good intentions before he ends up lying and lying and lying. Everyone's intentions start good.
Correct.
So the Matrix, when it was all set up in this mortgage system, was probably set up with a very good intention. And it worked for a lot of people. Now it's all a scam. But because it worked for your parents, they're like, oh, you should go to school and save up and buy a house. That's what I did. Well, you did it because the cost of a house was twice your yearly wage. And now it's 100 times my yearly wage. And it's not even the same game we're playing. That's like saying you should just jump over him because I played checkers, but we're playing chess. They're different games. So the older generation still have some belief in the Matrix because they haven't been deceived. They haven't been tricked as badly as the younger generation have. This is why they believe in it. And that's why your parents will tell you the path to wealth that they followed because it worked, but it doesn't work anymore. Now we're living in a society where you have basically two choices. The path to wealth that they've laid out to you is a lie and a scam, and it's never going to work. You're never going to get rich that way, and you know it. Working hard in some corporate job is never going to make you rich ever. I've always been a believer in the struggles men have in their minds, and I've always spoke about it, and I've suffered with them myself. And this is one of the things when I say like depression isn't real, people say, oh, you don't understand. Let me counter that argument by saying I understand very well. Me convincing myself and me deciding that depression isn't real is how I prevent myself from ever feeling depressed. And I've only constructed that mental model because I've been in situations in my life where I felt depressed. I'm not saying depression isn't real because I've never felt depressed. I'm saying depression isn't real because I've been very depressed. That people don't understand where my mindset comes from. I understand struggle and mental health and all these things. And yeah, jail was another chance to certainly touch on them because in jail, in real life, when you have my kind of resource, you can distract yourself very easily. If you're sitting around and feel a bit mopey, if I'm sitting here and I'm a bit like, I can literally make a phone call and in 45 minutes be in the air on my way to anywhere on the planet with whoever I want to do anything I want. So you can distract yourself. I'm not saying it fixes all mental health, but it distracts you. Whereas in jail, you are stuck alone with your thoughts. And it was certainly a test of my mental resolve. And I would say that I passed. I did well. There was never a day where I broke down. There was never a day where I couldn't handle it. There was never a day where I was, I wasn't polite to the staff. I was very nice to everybody. There was never a day I couldn't hack it. It was certainly a test. And also, Tristan said this. I don't want to take his words, but he's true. You go through life telling everyone you're the baddest motherfucker there is. Sooner or later, someone's going to test you. You walk in the pub and you say, I'm the hardest man there is. Sooner or later, someone's going to fight you. Sooner or later. And life's like that. You want to be the top G and you want to go through life and say, I'm the top G. Then God's going to say, well, we're going to see if you deserve to call yourself the top G or not. We're going to put you in a Romanian jail cell. And we're going to leave you there to rot. You're not going to know how long you're in there for. And the biggest mindfuck is I thought I was going to be in there for years. I had no idea. Everyone's telling me years. I thought I was going to be in there for years. So maybe God was just he was watching me and he was having a look and saying, you want to call yourself top G? Let's see. And I like to think I passed the test. So it is what it is. But yeah, I agree with you. In terms of mental struggles, yeah, they exist for all men. And I also think that's one of the reasons I'm so large. I talk about those things a lot. I talk about those things a lot with men and I help men with them. And I try and say to men overall that life as a man is pretty shit and you're going to feel shit for a pretty large percentage of the time. But you're only going to ever escape that if you just perform regardless. You have to perform when you feel bad. As a man, you can't say, I will perform when I feel good. It doesn't work that way because our heads are too complicated and life's too complicated. There's too much on our shoulders. We have too much stress and too much pressure. Our heads are fucked. You have to be the kind of person who says, I perform regardless. I didn't miss a single day's training. I didn't miss a please. I didn't miss a thank you. I'm not saying I was happy. I'm saying I did exactly what I was supposed to do. The worst thing about prison, I think for everybody else, because there was a lot of men in there who were crying, a lot of men who were having mental breakdowns. I think it is the problem I didn't have, which is knowing that if you're a normal man, you go to jail and they just pick you up and you go to jail. Who pays the rent? Who's feeding your kids? Who's your wife sleeping with? Like life gets hard for all the external things you could no longer control, things that were your responsibility. I was lucky I didn't have those problems. And when I spoke to people, most people's issues were things that were happening on the outside. And I felt really good knowing that my life is set up in a way where even if I'm plucked from it, it operates. And I set that up because I thought they were going to kill me. Even to this day, if they shoot me right now, everyone around, everything would be okay. I don't have to exist for my life to fall. So that was fantastic about jail. The worst thing about jail, I mean, the cockroaches started off really bad, but after a few days, it's amazing how quickly you get used to cockroaches just in your bed. You're just like, oh, just kick them out of the way. That was kind of bad. But, not knowing when I'm going to get out, that was bad. Having my name slandered all around the world, that was bad. Not knowing how people are reacting to it. Like my first month in jail, I didn't know if people believed this garbage or not. I had no access to the internet. I didn't see anything. There was a lot about it that was hard, but, I have to believe it's going to make me a better person. Why else did I go? What did I go for? To waste 3 months? To stare at a wall for 3 months? Is that why I went to jail? No, I must have gone to jail to become a better person. I must have learned something. I have to self-analyze and find the lessons and pick it out. And I think a lot of people don't do that with all the bad situations in their life. And regardless of whether you went to jail or a woman left you or your business failed, whatever it is, you need to analyze the entire situation and say, okay, what can I learn? There's a big pile of shit here, but there must be a little bit of gold inside. So I've just tried to look at it as a massive learning experience. And perhaps that's a coping mechanism, but I've found a lot of lessons which I'm implementing. And there's a very strong chance they're going to put me back. Not because I'm guilty, because I haven't done anything wrong, but because I'm currently in the middle of a judicial system. I'm in the judicial system of a country. I don't truly understand the language. I don't understand the judicial system. I don't understand the charges against me. I don't understand how any of this can be legal. I don't understand where it's come from. I don't understand the evidence they believe they have. And here I am stuck in this process, and who knows how it's going to end.
There are moments in your life that you feel overwhelmed by life, by people, by your own circumstances, by struggles.
We all get knocked down in every aspect of life.
Life has a way of humbling you. Life will make you shut up. Life will mute you.
You're going to feel awkward and stupid and dumb sometimes.
At times you won't want to come out the house. At times you'll be feeling bad and don't know why. What's wrong? I don't know. Just leave me alone.
You will cry.
You're going to fail, and you're going to be in your head. You could be saying, I'm not good enough.
But it's okay. It goes with the territory.
It's a part of the deal. The real challenge of growth comes when you get knocked down.
You got to get messed up sometimes. You got to get dirty. You got to get your feelings hurt. You got to get disappointed. You're going to ask somebody for some money. He's going to tell you no. That's just dirt.
How you handle it, that's where the growth takes place. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here. I can get me out of this.
If somebody came and knocked you down, there ain't nothing you can do about it. But if I come back a week later and you're still on the ground, we got a problem.
You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp.
The way you were born, what happened to you is not your fault. But doggone it, you still on the ground after 20 years? See, you get tripped out because you got dirt on you. But you need dirt on you to develop. If you get knocked down, there's nothing you can do about it. But getting back up has every single thing to do with you.
Don't you give up on your dream. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
See, you get mad when haters come your way. You get mad because you get a setback. You get mad because they talking about you. That's dirt. You are not the only person that's been through a divorce, boo. Get over it. You're not the first one they let go of. You won't be the last one. The question is what you going to do about it.
I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life.
I just need you to identify what your pain is, and then I need you to ask yourself what you're going to do about it.
And maybe you've been knocked down in your life, and it seems like, hey, the fight is over. It is not over unless you quit.
You can permit it to let it hold you down, or you can decide I'm not going to let that happen to me.
You have a choice to either give up or get up.
You got to get gritty, man. You got to develop some dog in you.
You can decide I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me.
You have to learn to turn and look at every obstacle as an opportunity. I will not give up. Every time I get knocked down, I will get back up and I will succeed. I love myself enough not to be trapped in the same doggone spot for the rest of my life. No pain, no gain.
Pain has a purpose.
Your pain ain't permanent. It might last for a second. It might last for a minute. It might last for months. But sooner or later, if you do not surrender, if you do not give up, it will subside.
Don't go through it. Grow through it.
And as pain leaves your body, guess what's going to take its place? Success.
You cannot build anything that won't bring a battle. And if you're going through a battle right now, it's only because you're building something.
Stop running from your pain and embrace your pain. What will you do with your pain? Will you let it break you or will you let it redefine you? Your pain is going to be a part of your prize. I challenge you to push yourself. You want affirmation? Look yourself in the mirror and say, I think I can. I know I can.
You've got to decide to be relentless. You've got to decide never to give up.
Do whatever it takes. You your biggest driver.
You've got to find some reasons within yourself that will give you the stamina when life catches you on the blind side to keep on calling and coming back again and again and again.
You see, the fight's not over if you've been knocked down. It's only over if you quit.
Because life is a fight. It's a fight for integrity, your goals, your dreams, your ambitions. So every morning, I've got to wake up and I've got to fight.
You gonna quit or you gonna make it to your silver? You gonna quit or you gonna make it to your goal? So you can stop waiting for it. You can stop wishing for it and you can get on with the rest of your life.
I got to fight for my dreams. I got to fight for character. I got to fight for integrity.
When you get to the point where enough is enough, doors start opening, opportunities start happening. But what you cannot do is you cannot quit during the process. All I'm saying is don't quit. I didn't say don't rest. Mentally, you can stay connected. But to win fights, you got to have stamina. You got to be ready to fight and bounce back. You better not feel sorry for yourself. You better get up and fight. And some of you are not successful because every single time you run up against a trial, you stop. I need you to match whatever effort the enemy is putting up. Match the doggone efforts. I'm going to think, I'm going to execute, and I'm going to win. And that's how you get to the next level. You cannot give up because it ain't what you see. You cannot give up. It's when you have nothing left. It's when you depleted all your money. When you have nothing left, that's when it's showtime. At the end of pain is your promise. So stop crying about it and use your energy to get through it. When you find a way out of no way, when you find breath that you don't have, when you want this thing as bad as you want to breathe, that's when you find a way. I cannot stop what happens to me, but I can dictate how I respond. I invested too much to quit. So when life happens, I don't just sit there and cry. I brought back.
Because all of us, if you live long enough, will go through a period of feeling so overwhelmed. Sooner or later you feel, oh God, just get me out of this. I wish I could tell you it's going to get easier. I wish I could tell you that, but that's not the truth. The truth is you got to find something within. Life's going to whip your butt. Life is going to bully you. Stop crying. Let it hit you, but don't let it punk you. And when you find out what your why is, when you find your why, you find a way to make it happen. And I'm telling you right now, don't give up. Don't give in. Get through it. I don't care if you're sick. I don't care what you're going through. If you're not dead, he ain't through with you yet. As long as there's breath in your nostrils, you still in the game. You're going to be here one day, but you'll never get here if you give up. As long as there's breath in your nostrils, you still can win. And finally, guys, you got to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. And you will promise me that from this day forward, you will not be defeated. Somebody holler, I'm not dead yet. Don't count me out. I may be sick, I may be crazy, I may be confused, but I'm not dead yet. Some people live in the cemetery of their failures. And I want to say to somebody who's fallen or everybody hates you and everybody walked away from you, don't live where they left you. Nudge somebody and tell them I will not die here. Whatever it takes for me to get out, I got to get out of here. I will not die on drugs. I will not die in depression. I will not die where you met me.
number one motivating thing for me, and I'm just being honest, was I was sick and tired of being poor. My mother was poor, my father was poor, my brothers and sisters were poor. I lived in a poor neighborhood, we lived in a poor house. And I would see, like at Christmas time, my father would put us in the car and take us out to the suburbs to see the Christmas lights. And I would see these big houses, man. I told my father, I said, Dad, I said, why don't we get one of these houses? He said, boy, I ain't got no money for this kind of house. He said, but if you work hard, you can make some money, you can buy you one of these houses. My motivation was to buy a big house so I could put up Christmas lights. And I always dreamed of buying my mother and father a real house. And before they died, I was able to do all of that. You have to find a dream that's so big that it overwhelms all of your fears and causes you to never give up.
Always go to something bigger than yourself. I'm wondering if you've been defeated because you have been giving yourself wholly to something that was too small to hold you. Are you trying to take a bath in a bowl? Are you not guilty of immersing yourself into things that were too small to hold your vision?
Why you keep imagining buying a house? Why do you keep imagining getting rich one day? Why do you keep imagining that? Because God is talking to you. You got to start believing in your imagination.